At the beginning of the story, we see an injured hand trying to rise, and in front of it, we see an extremely dangerous demon, actually a heavenly demon, who looks incredibly terrifying. A boy stands before him, facing the demon, but he is badly wounded and covered in blood. Humanity worships only money, and revered arcane engineering has taken over. This continued until people finally converted themselves into slaves. The protagonist, the boy standing before the heavenly demon, asks, "How can this even be fair?" The heavenly demon extends his sword forward, and the boy stepping forward says, "How does this even make sense?" As he rushes to attack, we are shown a massive explosion in the city, but in the end, the boy loses. We are then introduced to the world's most popular apocalyptic fantasy game, Arcane Soul. Our protagonist, Kim Jun-soo, a 22-year-old college student, appears. He is furiously yelling at his phone, calling the game trash, claiming it's just a pay-to-win scam. Kim, playing as a free-to-play F2P player, has been struggling in the game. A powerful player taunts him, saying, "You chose to be an F2P player." Laughing, the opponent adds, "Honestly, this is pitiful, but I was in auto mode the whole time." Hearing this, Kim gets even angrier and starts swearing. The heavenly demon attacks his character again, saying, "But this was still kind of fun. I've never seen an F2P player fight this well before." Kim, trembling with frustration, yells, "How is this fair? I've spent 10,000 hours in this game and still lost to a whale." He complains, calling Arcane Soul a gambling scam. Frustrated, he considers uninstalling the game, but decides to use his last free pull first. He clicks on the gotcha chest, expecting to get another useless warrior. But as the platinum silver chest opens, he is left utterly shocked. He has pulled the heavenly demon, an SSR-ranked character. Kim, in disbelief, screams, "No way! I actually got the heavenly demon. Holy shit, this is insane." He remembers that the chances of pulling this character on a free pull were only 0.0000006%. Overjoyed, he starts dancing in the middle of the street. Excited, he decides to level up the heavenly demon as fast as possible. He sacrifices all his other warriors to boost its experience points, watching as they merge into the demon, erasing their memories. While crossing the street, Kim is still celebrating, saying, "Now the heavenly demon is mine." But then he sees a truck speeding toward him. Confused, he notices the driver is asleep. At that moment, he realizes, wait, why does this feel like a familiar event? A massive collision occurs. Kim suddenly wakes up in a hospital. His head is bandaged. Confused, he mutters, "What happened? Why am I in a hospital?" His head starts throbbing as he recalls the accident. A truck had hit him. He panics. Just then, a nurse enters and says, "Oh, Warrior Kim, you're awake." Kim, confused, asks, "Warrior Kim?" The nurse rushes to call the doctor. Kim, still dazed, checks his personal information. To his shock, his name has changed to Warrior Kim. What kind of mistake is this? He wonders. He tries to stand but feels excruciating pain, as if his bones are shattered. He screams so loudly that the entire hospital echoes. The nurse rushes back and says, "Warrior Kim, you shouldn't move yet." Kim yells, "What the hell is this? It hurts so much. I feel like I'm gonna die." The doctor smiles and says, "You were hit by a truck. You won't be leaving here so easily." Kim, in shock, screams, "What?" The doctor adds, "You'll need more tests, an MRI and a magical vision test." Hearing this, Kim freezes. Wait, what did he just say? First Warrior Kim, and now magic. What the hell is going on? After that, we see a scene at the front desk where the staff calculates all the fees and explains the breakdown. Emergency fees, facility fees, CT scans, X-rays, and other associated costs. When everything is combined, the final bill turns out to be shockingly high. Upon hearing this, Kim is in complete shock and exclaims, "In just 4 days, I have been billed 22 million?" The staff further informs him that he has no insurance, meaning he must cover all the expenses himself. Kim, even more stunned, yells, "What kind of insurance am I supposed to have?" Every Korean gets national health insurance. The receptionist looks confused and asks, "National health? What are you talking about?" She clarifies that he has no legional insurance or magical tower insurance, Kim, now frustrated, shouts, "Legion? Magic Tower? What are you saying?" But then mid-sentence, he suddenly stops and thinks, "Wait, these terms, where have I heard them before?" He struggles to recall, and then it hits him. Legion, Megacorp, Magic Tower, Holy Order. These are the four factions that dominate Seoul. Realizing this, he is utterly shocked and exclaims, "This is the setting of Arcane Seoul, a world where gods abandoned humanity, where arcane science advanced to extraordinary levels, and where the world was slowly being overrun by monsters. Humans modified their bodies to survive, and now he is fucked." He tries to simplify the explanation for himself. This is a world where survival is extremely difficult. And then, shouting in disbelief, he says, "I have actually arrived in this world?" However, as he processes this new reality, he accepts it and mutters, "I was so happy before, and wanted to sleep forever because I had received Heavenly Demon. But now it seems I've become nothing more than a tutorial character. This must be divine punishment for turning countless warrior Kims into dust." When he finally arrives at his home, he is even more shocked by its condition. It's far worse than he expected. He looks around and scoffs, "This apartment is even smaller than my old one. Why is this warrior Kim so poor?" He then sits down, realizing how weak his body is and how he has no money at all. He says, "What am I supposed to do here?" Understanding the situation, he realizes something even worse. If this truly is Arcane Soul, then a nuclear war is imminent. Dimensional rifts will open, and the world will soon turn into a living hell. I have no idea how I even got here, but if I stay like this, I am 100% going to die. Then a thought strikes him. Wait, does this mean... He picks up a pen, hesitating for a moment before stabbing it into his own hand. The pain is excruciating, and blood gushes out. But as he pulls the pen out, something astonishing happens. The large wound on his hand slowly begins to heal. Within moments, it is completely gone. He smirks and says, "I knew it would work." He now has confirmation. His wounds recover over time. This is the reason he was able to raise countless Warrior Kims before, is because Warrior Kim character is a free tutorial character, meaning he doesn't receive any trait initially. But by unlocking and switching between trials, he can develop freely, unlike other characters. For someone like him, who relies entirely on strategy, Warrior Kim is the best possible character, even better than the rarest ones. Excited, he exclaims, "If I am Warrior Kim, that means I can obtain any trait as long as I work towards it. Because I am inside Arcane Soul." A wide grin spreads across his face as he concludes, "In this world, you will die if you remain weak, if you are powerless, or if your luck runs out completely. Even then, I will never let this happen to me, because I wasted 10,000 hours in this game as an F2P player." At first, he appears serious, but suddenly he gives a creepy smile and says, "Now that I have Warrior Kim's body, I can do whatever I want." This makes him look even more dangerous. Later, Kim enters the player personnel office, where a man is sitting. The man looks at him and says, "So, your name is Warrior Kim? And you are telling me that this is your first time visiting the player personnel office?" Kim replies, "Yes, I have thought about joining the mana purification." At the same time, he thinks to himself that the first thing he needs to do in this game is make a lot of money, because right now he only has a weak body. To earn more money, he must take on this job. The man in front of him says, "Even though it's called mana purification, do you even know what dungeon cleaning actually involves?" This man is the director, Choi Seon. Kim confidently responds, "Yes, I know about it." Choi Seon laughs and says, "Oh? You claim to know, but there's nothing about it in your resume." Hearing this, Kim thinks, "Of course, I know what this job really is. It's absolutely disgusting." Then Kim explains, "The reason why contaminated mana exists is the same reason monsters have taken over Arcane Soul. Dungeon cleaning is a job where you have to remove a lot of waste, which is full of contaminated mana. If someone is exposed to too much of it, they can even die." Kim continues explaining, "There's another problem, mutation. If you stay inside the dungeon for too long, you might mutate. This thought makes Kim a little nervous. Choi Seon then says, "All right, as long as we have enough human workers, I am willing to assign you to our team." Kim happily thanks him, but Choi Seon warns him, "Are you absolutely sure about this? Because I've seen many people like you enter the dungeon, but in the end, only an empty space remains. Only a few make it out alive." Kim simply smirks and says, "Don't worry about me. I'm probably better than you." Choi Seon is slightly confused and asks, "What?" Kim thinks to himself, "Working my ass off as a free-to-play player is my expertise." The scene shifts, introducing a man with a scar on his forehead. He looks at Kim and says, "How can a shitty newbie like you join our team?" This man is Deer, the squad leader. Kim scratches his head and says, "Well, it just happened. I was assigned to your team." Deer gets angry and grabs Kim by the collar, saying, "Do you think this is some kind of playground? Why don't I see any determination in your eyes? You better not come begging me for mercy when you start mutating. If I see any signs of mutation, I will kill you immediately." Kim calmly replies, "All right, I'll remember that." Kim thinks, he's just trying to scare a new recruit. This feels exactly like how things worked in the game. But wait, Deer is an R-rank character? What's he doing here? Before his awakening, his legs were normal too. Just then, another man approaches Deer and says, "You don't have to be so hard on the newbie. We're already short on people, so having more workers is a good thing." This man is Hedgehog, who has 5 years of dungeon cleaning experience. Deer sighs and says, "Fine, but keep an eye on him. I doubt he'll be of any real help." Then Deer leads them to the worksite. He tells everyone, "All right, we have exactly 4 days to clear this location. Get to work." Kim gets annoyed and curses under his breath, thinking, this bastard is even harsher in real life than he was in the game. Hedgehog pats Kim on the shoulder and says, "Don't get too worked up. He may seem harsh on the outside, but he's actually a good guy. You'll see for yourself whether he's good or bad." Kim nods and says, "All right." They reach the dungeon, and a horrible stench fills the air. Someone comments, "It smells like something is rotting." "I've never smelled anything this bad before." Deer asks, "Is everyone ready?" "I'm opening the door now." As soon as he swipes his key card, the door slowly opens, releasing an even more putrid stench. Dyer commands, "Everyone, maintain your positions." Inside, they see contaminated slimes, low-ranking monsters. As soon as they detect humans, the slimes start crawling down from the corpses and moving toward the group. "There are a lot of them," Kim explains. "Basically, our job is to clear out contaminated mana and these contaminated slimes. Even though their combat power is low, the real challenge is that they don't die easily. When you attack them, they split apart and then merge back together." A man panics and asks, "Then how do we kill them?" Kim answers, "The only way to kill them is by destroying their tiny mana core, which is hidden inside their bodies. But finding it is the real challenge. Since no one can locate the mana cores, the slimes start overwhelming them. The workers scream, 'Stay back! If they grab us, we'll be contaminated.' But then Kim suddenly jumps into the group of slimes. The other workers are shocked, thinking he's crazy. Kim lands, instantly crushing a slime's mana core. The slime dies, the others are stunned. One worker is so terrified that he faints on the spot. Kim, seeing this, says that it's quite good, so why not have a little fun? The poor guy's condition was already terrible. After that, Kim quickly starts moving forward again. With just a single strike, he destroys the cores of all the slimes one by one. Kim keeps moving swiftly, attacking every slime he encounters and wiping them all out. He also destroys their cores, making his speed truly incredible. Since the cores were being destroyed, the slimes were disappearing rapidly. The onlookers were stunned by Kim's speed and efficiency, and even Deer was shocked, exclaiming, "He's taking down all these slimes with a single strike. How is this even possible?" Then we see Kim attacking a much larger monster. Laughing, Kim says, "Of course, this is completely possible." A flashback takes us to 2 days earlier. Kim was lying on the ground, searching for something desperately, muttering, "Where is it? Where is it?" Behind him, a boy comments to his grandmother, "Look at that guy. He looks so weird. Kim, like a madman, keeps searching the ground, convinced that he will find something. After a while, he finally discovers a coin. Overjoyed, he shouts, "I finally found it!" The moment he picks it up, he obtains a trait called Treasure Hunt. Excitedly, he shouts, "Finally, I found the most important trait for Warrior Kim, Treasure Hunt." He starts dancing with joy, exclaiming, "I've found 500 yen. I finally got 500 yen." Seeing his crazy behavior, the grandmother tells her grandson to close his eyes. Kim then explains that before beginning monster cleaning, he underwent some necessary trait through which he learned some important new rules. Next, we see Kim vomiting uncontrollably. Because of this, he obtains another trait called Contaminated Resistance. Kim, exhausted, says, "This one was definitely the hardest." He further explains that obtaining trait works just like in a game. If done correctly, the conditions for clearing them become much easier. This way, he successfully obtained 6 trials. Kim then reveals the 2 important rules. A person can obtain only 6 trials. Equipped trials can be switched at any time, depending on the need. Right now, Kim has activated the treasure hunt trial, allowing him to see his opponent's weaknesses. Laughing maniacally, he thanks the trait and says, "Thanks to this, I can see their mana cores." With a single strike, he takes down a massive and dangerous monsters. The people around him panic, shouting, "Everyone, be careful! Don't take a direct hit." Amid the slime wreckage, Kim emerges, looking satisfied. He laughs hysterically and says, "Warrior Kim's special ability is truly amazing." He looks quite creepy at this moment. Later that night, Kim sits on a bus, reflecting on the day's events. He thinks about how the treasure hunt trial helped him a lot. Exhausted from the entire day's work, he sighs, "I'm so tired." At that moment, Hedgehog approaches him and thanks him, saying, "Because of you, we're able to go home early today." Kim looks at him, and Hedgehog continues, "Watching you fight like that was truly amazing. Are you also waiting to awaken, just like deer?" Laughing, Kim replies, "No, it's nothing like that. Thanks to my military experience, I know exactly how to handle a weapon." Hedgehog responds, "If that's the case, you're truly incredible." As he says this, his horns start growing. Seeing this, Kim thinks, it looks like his mutation symptoms are getting worse. Kim realizes that Hedgehog has likely been overexposed to contaminated mana. Concerned, he advises, "Your condition doesn't look good. Why don't you go home and rest tomorrow?" But Hedgehog refuses, saying, "No, no, I'd rather become a mutant than facing my debt collectors." Kim is a bit troubled by this, but acknowledges that it makes sense. Here, people don't have many choices in life. 4 days later, we see that all the monster cleanup work is finally done. However, everyone's condition has worsened due to the terrible stench. Observing them, Kim comments, "It looks like everyone is completely exhausted from these monster cleaning days." We then see Hedgehog vomiting, his condition deteriorating further. Kim looks at him and says, "I told you before, you shouldn't push yourself too hard." Deer, watching this, comments, "It seems like you're still not ready for this. Maybe it's because you're still young." Kim reassures them, "There's nothing to worry about. It's all thanks to the trial I obtained during monster hunting. That made everything much easier for me." Suddenly, there is a loud scream from behind. Kim turns around and sees that Hedgehog is emitting an enormous amount of contaminated mana, or rather dark mana. The people nearby panic, saying, "Your spines are growing too fast. Are you okay?" Seeing this, Deer rushes forward, shouting, "What the hell is happening?" Kim, now anxious, mutters, "Please don't tell me." As Deer reaches Hedgehog, he grabs him and shouts, "Hedgehog, stay with me." But it's too late. Hedgehog has started fully mutating and now looks terrifying. In response, Deer pushes him back, and suddenly there is a massive explosion. Kim, watching in horror, exclaims, "Crap! We're in serious trouble now." Hedgehog has completely transformed into a giant mutated monster. Seeing him, Kim realizes he has lost all his senses now. If we don't take him down, none of us are getting out of here alive. After that, he looks at all his new traits and says, "All the new trials I have here are specialized for monster cleaning. There is no way they can help me in combat, so it doesn't matter how much I think about them. But now, this mutant is going to finish me off. So I am screwed. I need a thumbnail designer who can make thumbnails like this. If you are one of them, you can contact me at given mail address. Suddenly, Hedgehog attacks Kim, causing massive damage. He gets severely injured, blood starts coming out of his mouth, and he is thrown far away, crashing into the ground with such force that a deep crater forms. As he struggles, he realizes the power difference between them is immense. If this continues, I will die here, he mutters. But at that moment, he obtains a new trait, endurance. Is this? Yes, this is exactly what I need, he exclaims. But I need to act fast. If I give up now, I will die. If I want to survive, I must figure out how to defeat this thing. First, he decides to delete one of his traits and reorganizes them. Strength. I need it the most right now. Mana heart. It helps me control my mana. Endurance. It reduces the damage from every attack I take. Mana absorption. It allows me to absorb mana. Deep respiration. It grants me the ability to regenerate mana. And finally, the last piece of this puzzle. Corruption resistance. After setting them all up, he declares, "All right, that's it. I have planned everything. Now I'll activate all my trials at once." Looking at his opponent, he yells, "Come on, you bastard! I'm ready to face you now." Hedgehog rushes toward him at full speed, roaring fiercely. As soon as he gets close, Kim swings his shovel and activates his full strength, increasing his power tenfold. His shovel attack lands directly on Hawk, pushing him backward and sending him crashing into the distance. Seeing this, Kim exclaims, "It's working! I can do this!" But then Hedgehog, while mid-air, suddenly starts spinning rapidly. Kim is shocked and panics. The monster rolls toward him like a giant ball. "What the hell is this now?" Kim shouts. Hedgehog bounces off a rock, gaining more momentum, and comes flying straight at Kim. Seeing this, Kim is terrified. "Someone save me!" he cries out. Hedgehog collides with him while spinning, causing a massive explosion. The entire area is devastated. Kim, in unbearable pain, collapses. Hedgehog moves back after the impact, observing his opponent. But to his surprise, Kim jumps up from the ground. "I activated my endurance just in time, but even so, the pain is unbearable," Kim groans. Gritting his teeth, he clenches his fist and charges toward Hedgehog. The monster is confused as Kim shouts, "If I stop now, I'll die." He unleashes multiple consecutive attacks, striking Hedgehog relentlessly. "I have no other choice. I must keep attacking," he yells. But in his desperation, he forgets one crucial thing. Hedgehog's body is covered in deadly spikes. The monster suddenly shoots them like missiles. Kim barely dodges, but the monster goes berserk, continuously firing spines at him. Some land directly, covering him in blood. Kim crashes to the ground, his body pierced by several spikes. He tumbles far away, groaning, "It's just a few wounds." But the pain is unbearable. Despite his agony, he refuses to give up. "Just a little more. I must attack again." Summoning his strength, he gets back up and prepares to strike with a powerful punch. But then we notice something. There's blood everywhere. His hand is in terrible condition. Hedgehog had punctured it completely. Kim is shocked but refuses to surrender. Hedgehog, looking more dangerous than ever, attacks again. This time he smashes Kim's other arm, completely destroying it. Kim screams in pain as Hedgehog clenches his fists and prepares a massive downward strike. Watching this, Kim realizes, "Just as I thought, I can't win with Warrior Kim's body." Hawk's attack lands, causing a massive explosion. Dust and smoke fill the entire area. As Kim lies on the ground, he recalls his gaming days. "When I played games, I used to say, 'Come at me. I can defeat you all with Warrior Kim.' But back then, things were easy. Killing monsters was just a single click away. I never thought about what a character might actually feel." As he remembers, he sees his own blood dripping. Meanwhile, Hedgehog is confused. Kim's hand has grown significantly larger. Not only that, but he has blocked the attack. Kim smirks. "That's why I must suffer. Only through suffering can I obtain a medium trait." With immense force, Kim lands a powerful punch directly on Hawk's face, sending him flying far away. Hedgehog tumbles through the air before finally crashing into the distance. Kim, still standing, mutters, "No, There's no way I'll lose now. He has obtained another new trait, mutant muscles. His previously shattered arms have now grown even larger, completely mutated. There's no victory without sacrifice, he whispers. After throwing Hedgehog away with immense force, Kim explains why he was fighting so recklessly. He was aiming for another trait, one that could only be obtained by surpassing the limits of mana, heart, and strength. The trait was called mutant muscles. Hedgehog was once again rushing toward Kim at full speed. Seeing this, Kim smirked and said, "Haha, all those muscles of yours, they're only going to last for a short while." Hedgehog lunged at him, but Kim effortlessly extended his hand and blocked the attack with ease. He grinned and said, "These attacks won't work on me anymore." Then he started throwing punches at Hedgehog and taunted, "You dared to attack me? How did you even get the courage to do that?" But now Hedgehog was furious. Being beaten up like this only fueled his rage. In response, he grew sharp spines all over his body and launched another attack on Kim. This time, his spines pierced Kim's body, leaving deep holes and tearing through his flesh. Kim groaned in pain as his entire body was punctured, but he smirked and said, "So, you weren't even using your full strength yet?" Suddenly, Kim's body started regenerating. Hedgehog was shocked. He couldn't understand what was happening. Kim had just been fatally wounded, yet now he was standing again. Not only that, but Kim had also obtained the mutant body trait. His body was transforming, growing larger and more monstrous by the second. He looked more dangerous than ever before. Kim smirked and said, "Thanks for this new body, Hedgehog. I really appreciate it." Then he charged forward once again, and the two resumed their fierce battle. They wrestled, pushing against each other with full force. Kim said, "Our strengths are equal now. We are both at the same level." Meanwhile, Deer finally regained consciousness. He opened his eyes and mumbled, "What's going on? What's all this noise?" But as soon as he saw Kim and Hedgehog fighting like monsters, his eyes widened in shock. Kim? Did he also turn into a mutant? Or is he some kind of superhuman? How is he able to fight a mutant on equal terms? Before Deer could process anything further, Hedgehog launched a powerful attack on Kim, sending both of them crashing to the ground. Kim got up and said, "This isn't as easy as I thought. My size has matched his, but if this continues, I'll be at a disadvantage." Hedgehog roared and started increasing his power even more. Seeing this, Kim muttered, "This is getting too dangerous, but I don't think I have any other choice now." Then he let out a mighty roar of his own. He activated his trait contamination resistance, allowing him to resist the contamination effect of the mutation. "I need to trust myself," he thought. And then, Kim deleted the trial contamination resistance skill. Suddenly, a mutation started spreading through his body. Deer watched in horror as Kim's body began melting and rapidly changing. His skin turned deep red, and he started looking like a full-fledged demon. Kim let out a monstrous roar. He had fully evolved. Even Hedgehog looked confused now. The energy radiating from Kim was disastrous. Everyone watched as Kim had completely transformed into a mutant. He opened his mouth, charging up an energy ray, and fired it directly at Hedgehog. The blast was so powerful that it tore through the stadium, creating a massive crater that extended far beyond the battlefield. Deer, seeing this, was utterly terrified. What just happened?" he stammered. Then he looked at Kim, who now looked nothing short of a monster. When Kim turned toward him, Deer's fear only intensified. "This isn't normal. Kim has turned into a monster. He was fighting a mutant, and now he himself has become one. But how is this even possible?" Kim's horns had grown out, and his teeth were razor sharp. His appearance was absolutely terrifying. And then he unlocked a new trait. He had fully transformed into Mutant Kim, one click away. Subscribe now and help me reach 1,000 subs for monetization. Deer, horrified, started crawling away. "I need to get out of here. Fast!" But Kim noticed him. He started approaching Deer, reaching out his hand toward him. Terrified, Deer squeezed his eyes shut. Then blood splattered everywhere. But suddenly, Deer opened his eyes again. Kim had returned to normal. Shocked, Deer gasped, He turned back into a human?" And then Kim collapsed. He was breathing heavily and muttered, I I actually did it. The truth behind what happened was then revealed. Kim's corruption resistance had been his last line of defense. If someone obtains mutant form and mutant muscles, but then deletes corruption resistance, they undergo complete mutation. Most people believe that once you turn into a mutant, you can never turn back. That's why Kim had seemed so terrifying. But he smirked to himself and thought, I knew there was another way. If I could change my trait, I was confident that I could find a way back as long as I was able to think reasonably even a little bit. And that's exactly what happened. Kim's body melted and reformed, gradually returning to his human state. He whispered, that's how I switched between mutant mode and corruption resistance. The scene shifted to reveal the battlefield, completely devastated. Kim's condition was horrible. I feel like every single bone in my body is broken, and all my muscles are torn apart. I can't even move. I don't want to go through this again, he muttered. But despite everything, he forced himself to stand up. Then something surprising happened. Hedgehog's core emerged from his body. Kim picked it up. It was a level 1 mana core. Kim looked at it and grinned creepily. This makes everything worth it. Then he started dancing, laughing to himself. I got a level 1 mana core. That means this cleanup job was actually really profitable. Just as he was celebrating, Deer arrived with his team. Kim, are you okay? Deer asked. Kim, still slightly dazed, looked at him. You turned into a mutant. What happened? Deer asked. Kim sighed and thought, if I don't explain, they'll just start spreading rumors about me. So he simply replied, it was just a gamble, and I got lucky. Hearing this, Deer says, you were quite lucky, but how is this even possible? Suddenly, Kim places several things in Deer's hand, leaving him utterly shocked. As he walks away, he says, let's head back now because I need some fresh air. The others were also stunned and said, these are level 0 mana cores, and so many of them. Kim, while leaving, says, because I saved these people's lives and also gave them many mana cores, I believe they will keep this secret completely safe. But Deer's expression told a different story. He didn't look happy at all. Now we see Kim inside the same office where Choi Seol was speaking to him very affectionately. Acting submissively, he says, I heard that you worked really hard. You must be exhausted. Kim, sipping his tea, replies, yes, in the beginning, but the final task was especially tough. However, he wonders, why is this cunning man suddenly trying to butter me up? Choi Seol then says, honestly, we should have informed everyone that you're a superhuman. Instead of giving you cleaning work, we should have assigned tasks suited to your abilities. Hearing this, Kim thinks, so he believes I'm a superhuman? Kim then explains what superhumans are. Arcane souls awaken a unique super ability, making them powerful. In this world, strength is the ultimate power and authority. Superhumans are like nobles, and it makes sense that Choi Seol would think this way. After all, only a superhuman could defeat a mutant. But who would imagine that I won simply because of my triads? Choi Seol continues, I believe I should compensate you for the cleanup work you did. At this, the demon inside Kim smirks and thinks, this is too good. Choi Seol says, you cleaned 5 regions and we usually take a 20% commission, which means 50 million yuan in total. If I divide it among the groups, you should receive 5 million yuans. But I think I should do something different this time. Then he places an entire stack of money in front of Kim. Kim looks at it, confused. Choi Seol tells him, we will only take 5% from your share, and the rest of the bonus is all yours. Kim is completely shocked, his mouth left wide open. This is 12 million yuan. Choi Seol smiles and says, I hope we can continue working together in the future. Kim laughs creepily. Being a superhuman really is great. As he steps outside, he thinks, now that I have so much money, I need to decide how to spend it. Just then, a man standing nearby says, you seem to be in a really good mood. Kim looks at him, confused. The man continues, looks like you made a lot of money. Kim replies, yes, of course. We completed our job, after all. Then Kim thinks, this is the same guy I worked with on my first mission. The man says, Well, actually, there's a reason I'm here. I need a favor from you. Kim asks, a favor? The man sighs. My wife is really sick, and I was hoping that if you have some spare money, you could help me out. I'm sorry for asking this since we've only worked together once, but hearing this, Kim looks serious and thinks, this is not a good idea at all. Helping someone from another world whom I barely know? Who knows, he might just be trying to scam me. And I can barely even support myself right now, but I feel too bad to just ignore him. So Kim says, it's okay, brother. You don't have to do this, shaking his hand. Then he adds, you don't need to worry about anything. Kim places several level 0 mana cores in the man's hand and says, you can use these. Later that night, we see the man in a dark corner, laughing like a madman while looking at the mana cores. He sneers, what a fool! I just acted poor and desperate, saying my wife was sick, and he handed me all these for free. Seeing this, Deer mutters, looks like he's still a complete newbie. The man smirks and adds, I bet if I had told him my kids were sick too, he would have given me even more. But then he frowns. The most annoying thing is that he was paid a ridiculous amount. Compared to what we got, it's like we were given mere breadcrumbs. That fake superhuman tricked us all. Deer chuckles. So he's not even a real superhuman. If that's the case, we should teach him a lesson. The man asks, you have a plan? Deer grins. You don't know yet. He starts laughing sinisterly. That little weakling must have some ability. But now that we know his secret, let's make him understand just how terrifying this world can be. His expression turns menacing. Then we cut to a relaxing massage center. Several people are there to enjoy a massage, including Kim. Lying down peacefully, he sighs. This feels amazing. I never imagined I'd be able to enjoy a massage in a place like this. This game world is much better than my real life. But suddenly, as the masseuse presses on his arm, a sharp pain shoots through him, making him cry out. He winces and thinks, it's been 3 days since I've been resting in this hotel, but my arm still hurts because of that mutant fight. I really need to think twice before using the mutation trials again. He realizes changing traits isn't the most important thing right now. My body's adapting, but these transformations come with serious side effects. The chances of complications increase each time. But his biggest problem? The number of times I can use my traits is completely limited. And as he thinks about all this, he looks down and notices some people below. He mutters, wait, that's the Iron Fist gang. Their boss was resting comfortably while several of his men stood guard. He sighs. Looks like these guys are still strutting around with their arrogance. He continues. In this game, gangsters dominate more than even the law. That's natural, though, because there are so many monsters here. Humans have no choice but to depend on superhumans. I've survived this situation once before, so relying too much on my traits would be foolish. This place is far more dangerous than I thought. A creepy smile spreads across his face as he adds, but now everything seems to boil down to just items. The scene then shifts to a store in Seoul where Kim has come to sell his loot. A female clerk asks, are you here to sell something? Kim replies, yes, I have some items extracted from monsters. Hearing this, the girl frowns and says sternly, let me tell you in advance, we don't buy level 0 mana cores. Kim responds, I know. He opens his bag, places something on the counter, and asks, so, what do you think about this one? The moment she sees it, her eyes widen in shock. This is a level 2 mana core. Her face flushes with excitement as she exclaims, you actually got a level 2 mana core? Kim smirks. Take a closer look. He continues, seeing your reaction makes me feel great. Embedding level 1 mana cores into other cores has finally paid off. I've successfully fused them all together, and thank the gods, I've obtained a level 2 mana core crystal. The higher the level, the better the payout. If I sell this at the highest price, it'll be amazing. The clerk nods and says, all right, the total amount for this core is 4.77 million yuan. Kim grins in satisfaction. Then he asks, do you sell any weapons or armor here? The girl replies, of course. Come with me. As Kim follows her inside, his eyes widen in excitement. Wow, This place has everything I need. The store is filled with weapons, a treasure trove of deadly tools. Kim exclaims, "It looks like all the basic items I used in the game are available here. This is incredible." His face contorts into an almost comical expression of pure joy. He starts picking out weapons, grabbing two of each. Holding them all, he says with excitement, "Now that I have so many weapons, it feels like I'm playing Arcane Souls." Just as he's enjoying his moment, a voice calls out from behind him. A girl looking nervous approaches him and asks, "By any chance, are you a mercenary? I need your help." Kim waves his hand dismissively. "No, I think you should look for someone else." But then, the girl pulls out a thick stack of cash and says, "I'm here on a business trip, but the Iron Fist gang has been harassing me. Can you escort me safely home?" Kim's eyes light up. 500,000 yen for a bodyguard job? This feels like a daily quest. He thinks for a moment, then places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You don't need to be scared anymore. I'm here now." The girl looks confused, but Kim confidently says, "Let's go." She leads the way while Kim follows behind, asking, "Where exactly are we going?" "Just a little further," she replies. Kim follows, but he begins to think, why would she be in such a shady place? Forget humans, I doubt even an ant lives here. Suddenly, the girl rushes toward a corner and says, "Just through here." Kim hesitates. It's dark. Too dark. "It's really hard to see here," he mutters. But then he activates one of his traits, night vision. "Huh, I wasn't expecting this, but I guess I've obtained a new trait." Then he sees it. The girl is holding a gun. Kim freezes, confused. The girl smirks. "You're more cautious than I expected." Kim's mind races. A gun? Who is this woman? Wait, is this a trap? Suddenly, another figure steps out of the shadows. "Dear." Dear says, "Junior? What are you doing here?" Before Kim can react, more people emerge from the darkness, surrounding him. Dear grins. "It's nice to see you again. Don't you agree?" Kim frowns. "What did I even do to deserve this?" Dear chuckles. "You didn't do anything, but you're a complete fool, and that's enough reason for you to be here." Before Dear can continue, Kim suddenly drops his bag and dashes away at full speed. "What the?" Dear yells. "You idiot. First you start talking, and now you're running away?" He turns to the girl and shouts, "Shoot him!" The girl fires her gun. A bullet pierces Kim's back. Blood sprays as he tumbles down the stairs. Everyone watches in stunned silence before cheering. Dear frowns. "What the hell? That was too easy." He turns to the girl and snaps, "I thought you'd aim for his leg, not his throat." She shrugs. "This is better. Now we don't have to chase him." One of the men mutters, "He must be dead, right?" Another adds, "Well, he turned back into a human after becoming a mutant, so I figured he'd survive." But seeing him like this, the girl nods. Even if he's dead, some mage will definitely buy his body. They approach Kim's body, but the only thing left is blood. Kim's body is gone. Seeing this, everyone was confused and utterly shocked. Their mouths were left open in disbelief, and they exclaimed, "Where did his body suddenly disappear?" Right after that, Kim suddenly shattered the streetlight, plunging the entire area into darkness. The man standing beside Deer and another guy near him were caught off guard as Kim struck one of them in the throat, causing him to collapse and lose consciousness. Panicked, the others gasped. "What was that?" Deer muttered, "Don't tell me he's still alive." From a distance, Kim smirked and replied, "Fool, you're absolutely right. I'm still alive. There's no way I'd die at the hands of a traitor who would sell out his own kind." To himself, Kim thought, "It was a damn good thing that before leaving the store, I bought a bulletproof vest." He then muttered sarcastically, "And thanks to that bullet, I just got another new trait. Playing dead really worked." The others started screaming in frustration. "He broke the streetlight. I can't see anything." They were in complete panic, looking around anxiously. "Where did he go?" Suddenly, Kim appeared right beside Deer and said, "Look at me," before landing a powerful punch on his face. "I saved your life once, but now it seems I have to take it back." Deer was completely shaken. Kim cursed at him and delivered another devastating punch. As it landed on his nose, blood spurted out, and Deer went sliding backward, collapsing onto the ground. Groaning, he got up and wiped the blood from his face. "You bastard!" Deer cursed and attempted to kick Kim, but Kim dodged it effortlessly. In retaliation, Kim punched him again, saying, "You should be grateful. I saved your life. And you think attacking your own savior is the right thing to do." As Deer fell, Kim was about to stomp on him when suddenly, Girl lunged at Kim from behind. "There you are," she shouted. "I knew it. Deer, are you okay?" Kim was momentarily confused. The bullet had only grazed his arm. He muttered, "I've been way too careless," and started shooting like it was a video game. "But I won't make that mistake again." As he fired, the girl's pistol slipped from her hand, and her arm was wounded. One by one, Kim shot at Deer's companions, wounding them and leaving them sprawled on the ground. Then he turned his gun on another enemy and shot him down as well. "This should be enough," he muttered. The two wounded men lay on the ground groaning. Kim then said, "I think I should just kill Deer now, to ensure my safety." But before he could finish speaking, Deer suddenly kicked him from behind. Kim was completely caught off guard. He couldn't dodge in time, and the kick landed straight on his face. He quickly crossed his arms to block it as best as he could. To his shock, Deer had awakened. His legs had transformed, and a powerful energy was radiating from him. He was no longer just a normal human. He had become a level 1 superhuman. Kim realized he managed to trigger a superhuman awakening in the middle of combat. If a shady game developer designed this, then superhuman awakening must be a built-in system in this world. The game system classified all playable characters as potential superhumans. According to the rules of Arcane Soul, a level 1 superhuman was already extremely powerful. Kim quickly retreated. Meanwhile, Deer growled in rage. "I'll kill you!" Kim analyzed the situation, thinking, "So he's strong enough to intimidate an ordinary civilian now. But I'm no ordinary civilian. I'll have to deal with a superhuman, using my regular human body." As Deer jumped toward him, Kim panicked. Where did he go? Suddenly, Deer vanished before his eyes and reappeared, rapidly climbing the walls toward him. "He can move like this?" Kim gasped as Deer charged at him, leaping off the walls like a beast. "I'm going to kill you!" Deer roared and kicked straight at Kim. Kim's eyes widened. "I have to dodge." The kick struck the ground instead, leaving a massive crack. Kim barely managed to evade it. Deer was surprised. "You dodged that?" Without hesitation, he lunged again. "But you won't dodge this!" This time, his attack landed directly on Kim. Deer laughed victoriously, but then Kim smirked and said, "Sorry, but I had no intention of dodging this time." Deer's grin faded as he noticed the iron rod in Kim's hand. Kim had used it to block the kick. Kim then sneered, "You're just a freaking animal." To himself, he muttered, "I knew it. Buying that expanding baton was a brilliant idea." A while ago, the scene shows Kim examining the weapons. Kim looks at them and says, "Buying guns is quite expensive. But since I'm a warrior-class character, even if these weapons make me stronger, there will still be a limit to how much I can build with guns. So just in case, I should also buy a weapon suited for a warrior-class character." That's why he had purchased an expendable baton. Kim explains that every character has their own weapons and trait, making them more effective within their class. Now Kim was trying to push Deer, which made Deer's legs tremble. Then Kim pushed Deer, but Deer pushed him back instead. Kim steadied himself and said, "This is why, if I want to face Deer and win, I must use close-range weapons and trait that suit a warrior." So he expanded his baton and attacked Deer, saying, "I need to use close-range weapons." As he spun the baton and attacked Deer, the attack was so powerful that Deer was completely knocked down and collapsed to the ground. Because of this, Kim obtained another trait called Strike. Seeing this, Kim smiled and said, "All right. I got my first class classified trial, a warrior class specific trait called Strike." Then he moved forward and said, "Now I must use a downward weighted slash, followed by an uppercut." Saying this, he kept attacking Deer. Meanwhile, Deer tried to dodge his attacks. Kim continued using leg swipes and sideways swipes, making it extremely difficult for Deer to counter him. However, after noticing an opening, Deer prepared to land a powerful kick on Kim. Seeing this, Kim said, "Damn it, there's an opening here. How should I dodge this?" But as he saw the incoming kick, he realized, "I can't block this. It's too close." So gathering all his strength, he said, "If that's the case, then I have no choice but to break one of his bones." Saying this, he quickly struck Deer's leg with his baton and kept attacking. However, Deer's kick still landed on Kim, and Kim's baton also struck Deer. Both of them were in severe pain. But Kim was extremely happy, despite the pain, and said, "This is exactly what I wanted. A top-tier warrior class trait that can be built in the early stages. It's called combo." So he continued attacking Deer with combo, causing Deer to struggle even more. Kim used strike and combo continuously, leaving Deer confused about what to do. Deer pleaded, "Stop!" But Kim had no intention of stopping. With a final devastating attack, he severely wounded Deer. As a result, Deer collapsed to the ground, completely defeated. Seeing this, Kim screamed in joy, "I finally defeated an awakening Deer." Despite the pouring rain, his body suddenly started heating up. Feeling this strange sensation, he said, "What is this feeling? My whole body is filled with pain." It felt like his body was compressing an enormous amount of mana. He continued, "Besides this, I feel like something is entering my body." The pain was unbearable, and he begged, "Please don't let this be what I think it is." Suddenly, a massive energy beam erupted from his body, releasing a golden aura. Kim said, "That day I realized the cruelest truth of this world." He was confused by what was happening to his body. But then it became clear. Kim had awakened. He had officially become a level 1 superhuman. Realizing this, Kim was overjoyed and exclaimed, "A superhuman! I've finally become a superhuman." A creepy smile spread across his face, a smile so unsettling that it sometimes made even me feel disgusted and scared. Then, like a madman, he started dancing, shouting, "Now, because of this, I won't just get high-paying mercenary offers. I'll also get low-interest loans in the city." Suddenly, another man appeared. He said, "This isn't over yet." Kim, confused, turned to look. There stood a man smoking a cigar, holding a massive gun. He wasn't alone. Many men surrounded him. Kim, now terrified, gasped and said, This is Iron Fist Kim. We learned that Iron Fist Kim is the second base character after Warrior Kim, a reinforced soldier class character who uses firearms as his primary weapon. His specialty? Shooting with a prosthetic arm. But the biggest problem was, Iron Fist Kim was a feared boss of the Iron Fist Gang, a criminal organization that ruled the underworld. Since Kim had been fighting in his territory, it meant he had seriously provoked Iron Fist Kim. Iron Fist glared at him and said, "Before causing destruction, you should check where you're standing." Kim, still shaken, said, I was suddenly attacked. I barely survived." Hearing this, Iron Fist grew angrier. Pulling out his pistol, he said, "So, you mean to say that those guys were even scarier than the Iron Fist gang?" Kim, now in a panic, thought, "God damn it, if I fight in this condition, I'll die for sure." Iron Fist placed the gun against Kim's chest and said, "Kid, you've made a huge mistake today." Kim was frozen in fear. Iron Fist continued, "So, tell me, what should I do with you for stepping into my territory?" Kim, now furious, snapped, "Oh yeah, is that so?" He smirked and said, "Looks like you missed something here." Then Kim pressed the trigger of the gun against his own chest. Iron Fist was stunned as the bullet pierced right through him. Shocked, Iron Fist muttered, "This idiot! He pulled the trigger on himself?" Kim grinned and said, "So what now?" Everyone around was confused, but Kim activated his skill, regeneration. The wound on his chest slowly healed, recovering completely in moments. Kim smirked and said, "That just tickled me a little." Iron Fist, now intrigued, smiled and said, "Looks like you really do have some interesting abilities." Kim revealed that his recovery skill had now evolved into regeneration. Since he had become a level 1 superhuman, all the skills he had previously obtained were converted into enhanced abilities. However, Kim thought to himself, "But this trick will only work as long as they underestimate me." So he had no choice but to use deception tactics here. Then Kim smirked and said, Look behind me. Iron Fist glanced past Kim. Behind him lay countless dead bodies. Kim continued, I didn't just survive because of luck. So I don't care who you are. If you mess with me, Warrior Kim will make sure you regret it. Iron Fist hears this and says, Warrior Kim? So that's your name, kid. I really liked your guts. He then continues, all right, I'll let you go this time. Kim is a bit surprised by this. Iron Fist then steps forward and adds, but if that's the case, then you owe me one. Placing a hand on Kim's shoulder, he says, I'm sure you understand what I mean, right? Kim nods and replies, all right, I'll remember this. But in his mind, he thinks, so he recognized me. Iron Fist then says, well then, next time, we'll go on a mission together. Kim looks at Iron Fist's hand and thinks, he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would betray me, so maybe forming connections here isn't such a bad choice. He then says aloud, that sounds good to me. They shake hands and Kim adds, all right then, we'll definitely meet again. The scene shifts to JAMCELL, the massive tower of superhumans. Kim arrives and looks around, his eyes shining with excitement. I never imagined that something that looks like this in a game could be so amazing in real life, he exclaims. Before him stands a grand, shining structure. Overwhelmed with excitement, he thinks, this looks completely different from my village. Just then, a beautiful woman appears. She smiles at Kim and says, welcome to the Superhuman Tower. Thank you for visiting us. How may I assist you? She was wearing glasses and Kim found her incredibly beautiful. However, he had no idea who she truly was. He blushes and thinks, she's so beautiful. But something about her face reminds him of an NPC. The woman then says, if you're here for a superhuman certification, please follow me. She gestures toward a machine behind her and explains, you can enter this machine. It will measure your mana and all of your circuits. Kim thanks her and steps forward, thinking, I didn't even ask for help, yet she guided me all the way here. Do I really look like that much of a beginner? He takes a deep breath and reassures himself, if I get my superhuman certification, I can finally start my real life in this game. But suddenly he freezes in fear. His face goes pale. What the hell is that? Look at the ceiling, he exclaims. Above him, something descends. A spaceship. A bright beam of light floods the room and Kim stares in shock. It looks like a portal. Someone is coming down from it. The people around him murmur nervously, that's the old father's order. Kim is stunned. Why is a boss monster here? What the hell is going on? From the ship, a powerful figure emerges. Saintess, a leader of the old father's order. Everyone in the hall immediately bows their heads in respect. Many clasp their hands together in prayer. It is an honor for us, they say in unison. Kim watches closely and thinks, wait, but I'm still inside the tutorial timeline, right? That means Saintess isn't a full boss monster yet, but something feels off. As the story progresses, the true face of this order is revealed. They are not saviors, but a cult disguised as a religious group. Suddenly, the members of the cult attack the humans, trying to enslave them. Saintess steps forward and enters the machine. The room fills with an overwhelming mana pressure, forcing everyone to step back. Even Kim is pushed backward by the sheer force. She releases her mana, and the machine begins analyzing her. The room falls silent. Everyone watches in anticipation. Moments later, the system panel opens, displaying her stats. Saintess, Prestige Class, Level 27. Mana level, 8 circuits, 6 trait. The people gasp in awe and immediately begin praying again. As expected, she possesses 6 trials from the beginning. They chant in reverence. But Kim breaks into a cold sweat. He thinks, this is nothing to celebrate. A level 8 superhuman is basically a walking national-level war machine. If she turns against humanity, she could destroy Seoul in the future. He clenches his fists. I can't warn them now, or they'll think I'm insane and stone me to death. I need to stay focused and manage my mana properly. But suddenly, Saintess turns her attention toward Kim. Her sharp eyes scan him. The people around her whisper, What happened? Why is she looking at him? Saintess then walks straight up to Kim and says, You have remarkable abilities, don't you? Kim panics internally. Shit, she noticed me. Let's aim for 300 likes for next part.